Good morning, everybody. I am sitting out here and I'm going to get real quick with everybody this morning probably. I know I woke up before my alarm went off and my knee that got hurt about a month ago. I stood up and I thought that it was just going to just go out on me. I wanted to just scream. It hurt so bad. I was like, fuck. It was hurting so bad. It feels better now that I'm sitting down and I'm not moving it. Definitely overdid that yesterday. Took my kids to the zoo yesterday. A friend of mine and my oldest daughter, we all went out there and just ran around at the zoo and had such a blast, but it was so hot and just a lot of walking. I think I might have overdone my leg, but what that little episode brought up for me, because when I got home, there was other stuff going on, and the energies that be were definitely sending out some negative charges. It was almost like you could say that there was this feeling of spiritual attack going on, you could almost say. And my positive, good energy of the day kind of just got drained right out of me within about 15 seconds. And that was interesting. Normally things don't get to me quite as quickly as what one little comment managed to do yesterday. But when dealing with ego, you never know what you're going to get. And definitely, yesterday I was in ego, and I woke up this morning and I just deal with this whole thing about the knee. I look at what the meaning of illness and things that happen to the body and what they spiritually mean to us. And the knee is all about flexibility and pride. And I definitely have a pride issue. I will just admit it. Anybody who knows me more than a half a second knows that I have a pride issue. And the pride issue is that I suck at asking for help. Really, truly suck at asking for help. I am one of those people that would rather basically kill myself than ask for help on things. And it is where I consistently fight with God, the universe, on things too. I know that it is my inability to receive properly. So it's a big time spiritual lesson to me. And on the other side of it, it's also, dealing with the knee, it's also about flexibility and letting go and moving forward and taking steps and being strong and secure in those steps. And yesterday, this 15-second moment that my ego got poked and prodded, and all of a sudden my energy went from everything's groovy and great and I'm pumped up and feeling connected and happy and all this good stuff, and I went like that and I crashed. Well, the ego in those moments, at least for me, sometimes gets me to do really productive things, because my pride does want to take a hold and do certain things. And I went ahead and I took action, which is something that I have actually been procrastinating on. And this one particular action, I have been procrastinating on it for 6 weeks now. So I just procrastinated, and then it was like God just basically said, nope, you're gonna go do it, and pushed me right here on my ego to get me to go, okay, no, take action. And that is where the ego actually serves us. Everything, you're gonna hear me basically condemn. I even refer to the ego Satan. I talk about the ego just being like this, but this thing that really takes us back, holds us back, prevents us from living that fuck yes life. But then there are these little moments where the ego serves its true purpose and gets us to take action in the way that we need to take, no matter what our thought process, emotion behind it really was. It gets us to move into this path to get us into exactly where we need to be so that we can move forward. And that's definitely the experience that I had yesterday. A little thing that set me off, set my ego off, made me take this action, and then my action, will now basically churn and go down that train track, and all of a sudden, the wheels on the train are moving, and I've now got it going this way, which I've been intending on doing. I just had all these awesome good reasons as to why I couldn't or shouldn't do it. And I was stalling, basically. I was stalling. So, as I wake up this morning and I was making my coffee and I was thinking about different things, I was also thinking on the lines of, and this is the thing that will make really, I don't remember, what did I title this? This is the thing that will give you freedom. So once you recognize, because we all deal with the ego, if we think that we can get away from the ego, never going to get away from the ego. We're never going to overcome the ego. We're never going to kill the ego. We're never going to be ego-less, okay? That's bullshit. If we're going to be ego-less would mean that we ourselves are physically not present in this world anymore, because the ego is here with us. It actually grows with our light. The people who are very, very big light workers also have humongous egos. It's just about knowing how to keep your ego in alignment to not keep it into alignment necessarily, but keep it not even really harnessed overly, but it's just keeping it on the side of the fence that needs to be on, keeping it chained up a little bit, yes, but knowing when to use it, when to feed it, when not to feed it, and not letting it rule our lives the way so many of us do consistently. The majority of people in the world that, through myself included, we're all guilty of this for the most part, is that we allow our lives to be dictated by our egos. And one of the biggest things that our ego does not want us to do, and the topic of this morning is really to forgive. It does not want us to forgive, because when we forgive, we basically break the chains of, you could say, the cords between us and whatever it is that we are needing to forgive. When we truly forgive, we sever the cords between us. And when we sever the cords between us, it is like we really do make a break between us and this other thing, typically other person, right? And in doing that, that's where we get our freedom. Because when we're not free, we tend to still be a doormat in a lot of ways. We make decisions based on our ego feeding us in different ways, different things, like we should do this, we shouldn't do that. Prime example is the story that I started with this morning, right? So I have not 100%, it's going to take me time, forgiven this other person. So I'm in this forgiveness process, but I'm still so heavy in ego, so heavy in the pain of it, that the forgiveness is not there. I know that I need to forgive, but forgiveness is a mourning process. It is a process of letting go, and you cannot just make it happen like that right away. But what you can do is you can lean in and you can start to make those breaks in lots of different ways. And consciousness is the primary way that you bring forgiveness around, is just to start to become more aware of how this not forgiving is holding you back. So a person who is not forgiving is definitely going to be more of a doormat, because the doormat is going to happen because our ego is going to get a hold of us. It's going to make us do things that if we had forgiven, we wouldn't do. Because here's the thing. When we forgive somebody, when we forgive a certain situation, we just move on, right? We're no longer attached to what he or she is doing, did, the reactions that we're looking for, the things there or that. We're not worried about that person. Think about somebody that you have nothing to do with. You don't have any reason to forgive them. They're just that person over there. You have no attachment, no connection no cord to that person. Therefore, you're not being impacted by their moves. They're not being impacted by your moves. There is no cord to connect the two. So you can just go and you can just live, right? You can just live, you can just be you, you can just quite literally move throughout your day, throughout your life with no concern of what that other person is doing or worry about what that other person is doing at all. Whether it is good or bad, right? So you're not thinking about what are they thinking, what are they doing, what's their plan, how can I do this, how can I do that, anything. Once we forgive, truly forgive somebody, we do move into a similar state with that person where we're just not caught up on what that other person is doing. Until we forgive, we are in this kind of action of, consistently connecting to that person with this lower grade energy of not forgiving, which makes us a doormat to the energy, which makes us where we're consistently making moves in our life based on yada yada yada, right? So forgiveness. And yes, I think I'm definitely 100% this conscious coffee is me preaching to me, because forgiveness is definitely what I realized this morning as I stepped down on my foot, because the person who hurt my foot, I'll just come out and I'll say hurt my leg, hurt my knee there. And as I stepped down on my foot and my knee did its thing, I was filled with anger and pissed offness and pain, and my heart kind of hurt a little bit, and then my ego stepped in and my heart pain went away, and my leg, I was kind of like, I breathed into it, and the breath was almost rageful. It was kind of like when like when something really bad is happening, you either run or you breathe it in and you go and you fight. And I'm that person that goes and breathes it in to go to the fight. The warrior in me came out, and it was literally the pain in my knee brought that warrior stance up this morning. First thing, this was like 5 seconds after I woke up. It was literally like boom, right there. I didn't even have a chance to establish where I was at all. So with that was greeted the fact that I realized, all right, I am experiencing this pain. I am hurt from this in multiple ways. And it is showing up as anger. That secondary emotion of anger is showing up there. But what really needs to happen for me to heal fully is forgiveness. For me to heal fully is forgiveness. And that is one of those things that definitely takes time, but just that awareness of it. So outside of being a doormat, here's the other thing, a few other things that lack of forgiveness or forgiveness, we'll see how it comes out here. So a person who has not forgiven a situation, much like myself, has not forgiven a situation, also really truly struggles from it. There are decisions that have to be made, and when you have not fully forgiven another person, you're always going to be wavering on decisions. So you're not going to really be able to tap into 100% alignment to self to get into alignment with everything. So when we're not forgiving a situation, a person, it keeps us maybe just a hair, but that's all it really takes, right? Maybe just a hair. It keeps us out of alignment by just this hair. So we're not quite just on target 100%. It's because we always have this little pull going this way. It's because we can't really truly feel ourselves 100%, because this forgiveness has gotten in the way, and it's kind of put a little shield against us, so we're not really being able to tap into us, which, guess what, prevents us from living our freedom, right? Because what do we want? We want to be able to live our freedom. We want to be able to have this connection. We want to have bliss. We want to have joy. We want to have laughter. We want to have orgasm in our life. We have all this different stuff. But as long as we have this little buffer here, then we have not forgiven certain situations or people in our life. And it keeps us basically buffered up so that we cannot feel and receive fully. And then the other thing is that, people who have forgiven, you're going to notice that there's a lot more genuine laughter and joy and play that comes from somebody that has forgiveness, because with forgiveness comes a lightness in energy, a lightness in just knowing that, everything happens for a reason. There is always a purpose behind everything. There is always a reason behind everything. And that God always does have our back. And to set ourselves free from that heaviness of that weightiness of not knowing if we are being received okay, if we're not, maybe we're second guessing ourselves as to our actions. Maybe we're not able to fully, make a decision in life. If you're a person that does this on decision making, check out the forgiveness category, because sometimes, because we remember that buffer that we've put up, right? We put up this buffer with our lack of forgiveness, so we can't really feel ourselves. So when something comes to us, we can't really make a legitimate decision either, because we don't really know who we are or what is going on. Because guess what? Forgiveness, when we forgive somebody, when we don't forgive somebody, we don't forgive them, guess what? We're also not fully forgiving ourselves, because we always take blame for, I should have seen this happening. I should have known that person better. I should have, right? I should have not allowed, I shouldn't have trusted so much. I shouldn't have been as open so much. I shouldn't have been as vulnerable. I shouldn't have surrendered as much. I shouldn't have loved as much. I shouldn't have blah, 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 blah. All those things. So we have to have forgiveness back at ourselves as well. And until we can, first of all, forgive out and thus forgive back as well, there's this buffer here. So to even make a simple decision sometimes, or just be us, be fully revealed, is not going to happen, because that lack of forgiveness is going to block it, because it's like this little buffer on us, and it just prevents us from fully tapping into who we are, into our alignment. So forgiveness makes decisions really, really hard. We just don't know what way to go. So to that clarity, okay? And then that also comes with that, just that lightness, that laughter, that joy factor. If you're always, I know a lot of people that are just struggling with happiness and joy, and and even myself over the last 5-6 weeks, I have just been kind of like this a little bit more, where I'm just kind of like ebbing and flowing and not quite finding my groove 100% of the time. And then all of a sudden I have those moments where I just completely let go, and in those moments I'm not thinking about this other person. I'm not thinking about the events that took place. I'm not worried about this. I'm not worried about that. I'm not caught up in the anxiety of back then. I'm not caught up in the worry of the future. I'm just quite literally in the moment, and in the moment I'm finding my resistance is gone, but it is staying in the moment. That can be so hard, right? It can be so hard to remain that present, to stay in a moment and to realize that this is not affecting us, and this can never affect us, because this was either back here or it hasn't happened yet, and whatever is to happen in the future is really decided by this present moment. So why not just let go? Why not live in this openness, this freedom right now? Why not allow ourselves to laugh, allow ourselves to play, allow ourselves to just open up and to express, to be ourselves, and to drop our guard in this moment, so that we can have that flow that we're looking for? Well, those moments can come through, and the more you can have those moments, the more you can open up, the more you can actually just really just bring in everything else, bring in that abundance. But forgiveness is definitely key to this, because otherwise, without that forgiveness, you're just kind of trapped into this harness, this cage of that lack of forgiveness, of the anger, of the frustration, of the fear, of the anxiety, of the worry, of the finger pointing, all this different stuff. And we're actually living back here in this past situation, in this past moment. We're putting ourselves back into that moment, and then we're not really feeling ourselves. So there's no freedom in it, because we basically caged ourselves into the past. And that's just not healthy. Not healthy. So a free person is definitely a person that has really gotten clear, and that clarity, that clearness comes from forgiveness, comes from that detachment, that severing of those cords that we get involved with other people, other situations based around forgiveness. So it really does come into the fact that we need to just bring that down into that full on release of everything. So and the other thing that you need to realize, I mean, there's 1,000,001 beautiful things. Forgiveness itself has been proven to really help us with our health. It is definitely a humongous health thing. And people, when we get caught in a lack of forgiveness, it does a lot of damage to our physical body. I know that just over the last 5-6 weeks, there are certain things that I can tell when I'm really holding on to that lack of forgiveness, and other times when I'm like pushing through and I'm just easy breezy and feeling good. But those moments when I get caught up in that anger, in that sadness that the lack of forgiveness is bringing up for me in those moments, like last night, for example, when I was in that that moment, and even this morning, I mean, look at this. Last night I went through this and I got like that, and then my ego got a hold of me. And yes, the ego got me to go do stuff that I needed to go do. God bless my ego, right? God bless my ego. I wrote an article called God Bless My Ego recently, but it really is. It's in those moments we go, God bless the ego. But then there is also that what happens is that we actually have that physical connection to it. So like this morning I wake up and my freaking knee is just feeling like it wants to blow out again. It feels it's got major resistance to moving today. It's got major resistance. It's just like it wants me to know that it is still hurt. It wants me to pay attention, to slow down, to move with more ease, and really to just kind of let things go. It's almost like it's harboring this negative energy, this entity almost, you could say, that my knee feels like it's kind of got a mind of its own today, and it's just going, hey, Kendall, pay attention. Slow the fuck down, give yourself time, give yourself a break, do this, do that. There's a lot of messages. Be more flexible, be more open, be more, let go of things, so that resistance, because that's what it is it's a physical resistance that is offering up an energetic connection, awareness of the energetic resistance that I myself is having in this moment around this particular topic. So what forgiveness does is forgiveness actually starts to set us free physically. There's many physical challenges that we can actually experience that will hold us back, and that means, like, quite literally, like if you're going through different things, and let's say your doctor just can't figure out what the heck's wrong with you, because I love this, because I get so many people I know, they have all these different issues going on, and they'll go to the doctor. And for years, I mean, I talk about this like in my sexuality classes, because we store all this emotion in our body, and then all of a sudden we end up at the doctor, and the doctor goes, well, there's nothing wrong with you, you're just fine. No, there's lots wrong with you. You got all this shit stored up in your body, and it is the emotion that is really impacting the flow of your body. It can affect your blood pressure. It can affect, anxiety, depression. It can affect fatigue, immune system. It can give you all these different issues that make you think that you have this or this or this, and it can even cause disease in the body, which is definitely dis-ease of the body. And dis-ease of the body is really just nothing more than a physical manifestation of something that came down from the spiritual world down into the emotional, mental bodies, and now has finally manifested into the physical body. So every physical thing that happens to your body is actually just manifesting to let you know, hey, this is what's going on up there. Pay attention. Pay attention. Start clearing it up here and break it down and start clearing it. Support the physical body, but do the clearing work of those things in the spiritual, emotional, and mental body. So work your way back up and get back up to the spiritual body and start doing that internal work. Everything is about the internal work. Nothing is not about the internal work. It does not matter what it is. Go internal and you can really fix all your problems. So let me see. Any other notes on? Oh, yes. My last note on forgiveness. I was like, what have I talked about? What have I not talked about when it comes to forgiveness? So, like little notes to self while I was making coffee this morning. Obviously, God wants me to work on forgiveness today. Forgiveness really is when you forgive, there is a certain light about you that happens, and this light is just really just all about you, just, I mean, quite literally like a radiance, like a glow, like, you know, like you're not underneath the suppression, the cloud, the cover, the blanket, that's what we'll call, you're not underneath the blanket of lack of forgiveness. It's like everything has been revealed. It has been moved off. Your expression of life changes. You change. You're embodied by this light. And this light, there's no darkness that can penetrate the light. When you see somebody and they're just glowing and they're happy and they're this and they're that, and you're just like, wow, that person is turned on to life, right? That is a person that is in the energy of forgiveness and has let things go. And that literally means that they're not thinking about, they're not feeling about, they're not caught up on any of these levels with this cord to the other person or event, okay? So they have severed those cords properly. They have really let those cords go. And that right there is something that just gives you this radiant glow, this light, this feeling that can come out, and that feeling will change exactly your expression in the world. And it's going to give you more confidence, it's going to give you more direction, more clarity, you're going to be more radiant, you're going to be healthier, you're going to feel lighter actually in weight as well. You're not going to have this like feeling of heaviness that's just kind of pushing you down, because that's exactly what will happen, is that we will feel a weightiness when we have not forgiven, and a lack of direction, a lack of purpose, a lack of drive. All those things are lack of forgiveness that is definitely trying to push it, that forgiveness, lack of forgiveness that's pushing on us. And God saying, just let go. Just let go. And there you have it. So, you want freedom? You don't feel free? You want to know one of the quickest ways to get, one of the biggest steps to take to get to that freedom? One of the things that you have to do, and this is not, I mean, you can be carrying around stuff from when you were a child to something from just last week. All of that stuff can weigh the same or weigh multiple ways. The more we do not forgive, the more we hold on to resentments and bitterness and this feeling that we can't let go, or it's not right to let go, or we need to have this happen or that happen. Like I'm a person that always wants closure. Well, that is also the doom of my existence sometimes, because the reality is that we don't always get closure in life. That closure is like my doorway that holds open the inability to forgive in certain ways. So if you're a person that needs closure, because I know a lot of people do, so this is why I'm going to just throw myself under the bus here for all of you, is that when somebody like me who needs closure doesn't get the closure, we're literally holding the door open to not fully forgiving. So the sooner you can just get to the point of, okay, yes, that happened, and yes, I'm not getting closure on it, so I'm going to just come back to basically a reason, a season. There's always something going on that we don't fully understand. And we don't have to understand it. And a lot of the times we're never going to understand it. Or we might understand it in 20 years from now, but we're not understanding it right now. Realize that when you are in the right now, when you are dealing with things, sometimes we choose to stay right here in this moment. But what we're doing is, it's like we're at a beautiful art gallery and we walked up to this painting and we're standing in front of the painting and we're like, wow, this is a beautiful painting. Except the painting, we're looking at it like right here, and we're just looking at this little dot on the painting, and we're so close to it that this painting takes up the whole freaking wall, right? But we're looking at right here what's in front of us. We think it's whatever the painting is, but we can't see the whole picture. And we look at it and everybody's going, wow, you just need to step back and look at the painting. And we're like, oh yeah, this is like, this is that. And we're like, oh, but we don't like this little spot over here. I don't like this design right here. But this design's really cool. But this one over here is not that great. Da, 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 da. And we're so focused on right here that we're not realizing that all we have to do is to just step back, and wow, we're going to see the whole painting. The whole painting is our life canvas. That is our life canvas. That's the vision for our life that God has. That's the whole caboodle right there, right? It's everything. It's absolutely everything. And because we're in the moment, we get so fixed on just this little spot, this little moment of our life, that we don't see how it fits into the whole canvas. We don't see this whole beautiful big painting. And when we get stuck in a lack of forgiveness, what we end up doing is we get stuck to this moment right here, and we forget to step back and see the whole canvas. And we basically, as long as we choose not to forgive, as long as we go, no, I need this, I need that from this situation, we are basically sticking ourselves in the mud and forcing ourselves to remain just focused on this one little spot in our life, instead of going, there's a whole painting here. There's a whole painting. It's a fucking amazing painting. It's beautiful. It's incredible. Shit, it's my life. It's the life that God's given me. It's the life that I'm blessed to live. It's the life that I get to decide what happens in. It's the life that speaks me, that is the essence of me. This is my legend, right? Do you want to focus in on the little speed bumps of your life and just make that your life? Because when we focus in on those little speed bumps, we're making them into like Mount Everest, because we're so damn close to them. And really, truly, they're just speed bumps. They're just speed bumps. And to just step back and look at everything else, which means to let ourselves drop into ourselves. Surrender. Get to know yourself. Let go. Forgive. 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 Forgiveness is the path to your freedom. Forgiveness is the path to my freedom. Forgiveness is the path to all of our freedoms. So choose to let go. Choose to forgive. Choose to connect to yourself. Choose to connect to the divine, and do your internal work. Do your internal work. Okay. Okay, guys. I feel closure on that note. I do. I feel closure. I need another cup of coffee. I'm probably going to go write an article on this topic too today. I don't know. We'll see what comes out of my fingers. I will go do something on that. There are going to be some classes being announced here in the next week. Next week, definitely look for all the different things that I've been talking about. We got some local class that's coming up, and Addison Bell and I definitely have a local class that we're going to be announcing in the next day or two. And also I've got some online stuff that's going to be coming out as well. So look for that. I'm not going to talk too much on it here, but it is definitely coming out. Go check out the article that is posted underneath this video. God bless my ego. And also make sure to check out the Feel Good Now class, because that Feel Good Now course is all focused on on feeling good, tapping in, getting into alignment, and doing the internal work that I'm talking about doing, so that you can access everything that I'm talking about on this conscious coffee and on other conscious coffees as well. Okay, I'm going to let you go. My munchkin butt Gabriel is awake, so he's standing there staring at me. So I love you guys, and I will catch you tomorrow at 6 a.m. And as always, stop existing and start living.